been handed down for a Marshall County woman accused of disturbing crime.
Holly Deboard pleaded guilty to charges including sodomy and bestiality and will now serve a maximum sentence of almost 100 years. News 19 Samson Tammy has more.
It was a revealing of shocking video evidence in court that led to Holly Deboard's sentencing to prison for the rest of her life.
It's not very often that one of the perpetrators actually videos it. And then not only that, is the one that sends it out to where law enforcement becomes aware of it.
The Guntersville resident wept as she read a letter of apology to the Marshall County courtroom before a final decision was announced by Judge Chris Abel. 99 years for charges of sodomy, sexual torture, and half a year for bestiality forced on an apparent male friend of hers who has a mental disability.
This is one case that was just physically repulsive. It made your stomach turn with watching these videos. It is so violent and so aggressive. And what they're doing to this victim is just, again, it's just awful. Words can't describe it.
The prosecution, led by Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Bray, showed 3 graphic videos kept on Deboard's phone and shared on Facebook in December 2019, in which Deboard could be heard saying she was punishing and threatening to kill the friend who's considered mentally disabled by the state.
Someone that was snitching on what she and the co-defendant, Mr. Havis, were doing, drug-related activity, and because they perceived him to be a police snitch or otherwise, as y'all heard in the video, this is what we do to snitches, their entire intent was to punish him or threaten him.
That co-defendant, 53-year-old Van Havis, could be seen in videos engaging in the crimes as well. Judge Abel said the content shown was one of the worst he'd seen on the bench, which led to his decision of the maximum sentence.
Anytime you can prevent more people from witnessing the kind of trauma that you endured, I think anybody would be happy with that result.
And because she has no prior convictions...
I'm sorry about that. The video just cut off. I don't know why it did cut off the last few seconds, but they pretty much got to the meat of the story anyway. But before I actually go any further, let me give a shout out to Huey Nacho in Discord for sending me this story. Now, it has been a long time since I've done a story like this, and I have to be very careful on how I talk about it, because whenever I do this type of story, YouTube be tripping. And I know I got to title it a certain way as well. But it's rare that I get these type of stories and this type of punishment is actually passed down, or this kind of sentencing is passed down to someone like this. Because usually when it comes to cases like this, you rarely get long, lengthy sentences. And this woman got, we'll round it up to 100 years. She got a whole century behind bars. Basically, she's going to die in prison for the crimes in which she committed. And here I am thinking, going into the story, that she only committed the acts in which I cannot say, but you know what I mean. But she did so much more. Like, she did way more. So now I see why she got that many years. And you can look at this woman's face and tell she came out of the school of Hannibal Lecter. Those of you who have watched Silence of the Lambs, and I'm assuming most of you have probably watched it, know exactly what I'm talking about. But this woman is sick. Sick, and even more sick. Like, I don't even think there's enough words to explain how deplorable this woman actually is. Her name should be Holly Deplorable. That should be her name. I might actually title the video that. But that's just disgusting. But let me pause it right quick, because I want y'all to see something that's even more interesting. So in the audio, you probably heard it or you didn't, but they said that she had someone who was working along with her, whose name they say was Van Christopher Havis. That's him. So she was a black guy was working alongside her. But now let me pause it even one more time, because it gets even more interesting. Now they have this third person as well. So you had a trio, but she was the one that was doing most of the engaging in most of the activity. But they have a third person. Now, I don't know who this guy is, because they didn't mention him in the story. They didn't mention him in the video, but his picture is alongside the other two. All 3 of these individuals are sick. Now, I don't know what the punishment will come of the other 2, because they don't talk about the one right here. They don't talk about him at all. They kind of talk about him, but she was the main one. But not only was she engaging, or they engaging those kind of acts, but they were also engaging in the sexual assaulting of a mentally disturbed person. Basically someone who could not defend themselves. All three of them are crazy as they're batshit crazy. I think that's the best way to put it. But like I said in my other videos, there are some weirdos out here, and this happened in Alabama. Doesn't surprise me of the location in which it happened. But the story itself is still disturbing, and the act in which was committed is even more disturbing. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments.